Yes, guys, and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV for yet another pre-match pump-up where we discuss all things Tottenham Rangers. Today, of course, travelling to the Ibrox, 3 p.m. kickoff, and we'll bring you right through to the watch-along with Ben and Sim in the studio. Of course, we're joined by Brian today, Nick as well, and James from Spurs Related. Brian, how are you keeping, my man?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing very good. My wife took me out for a brilliant Brazilian steakhouse last night. I ate more than my weight. And yeah, very, very good. It's very hot here in Toronto.
Yeah, it's very warm here too. As you can see, I'm fucking beetroot red right now. Sorry for the apologies, but I'm beetroot red right now for the swear words. Nick, I don't know what to call you. Nick Ranjit. I don't know what your name is.
I know you got confused. You were like, "Oh, it's Brian," and
I didn't know what to call you.
I've got a new name. End on Barry. That's the new one. So,
how are you keeping today, brother?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm just getting ready. We got a family barbecue. Going to watch the game. So yeah, it's going to be a good day. Hopefully.
Nice. Yeah, it should be a good day. And James, how are you keeping, my man? Good of you to join us,
mate. Yeah, no worries. Thanks for inviting me to Ben and Sim. And yeah, really looking forward to the game. Friendly game, but really excited because we're so close to that season. So absolutely buzzing. Looking forward to talking about it.
No, absolutely. Some people are saying the title says Sevilla. That's only minor matters. Do not worry about that whatsoever. That's only minor matters. We are here to talk all things Tottenham and Rangers. Daigle, are you excited heading into today's game? Because it's going to be feisty, man.
Oh, it's going to be very, very feisty, mate. Like I was saying, these two friendlies coming up are the friendlies that matter to me. These two now are the ones in career, training, fitness, getting the team to bond with each other, everything, and doing what you do. Results, didn't really care, but fitness and performance is what I cared about. Well, now these two games is where everything matters, and as people will know, there are no friendlies between England and Scotland. This is not going to be like an exhibition game. I can guarantee you that.
No, that it's definitely not. It's going to be a very, very tasty game. And look, I actually don't mind these preseason games because for me, hopefully it'll bring a bit of camaraderie together in these teams with these tough battles. Nick, going into today's games, what's the feeling like? You excited? Do you think we're going to win?
Yeah, I'm a bit like Brian. I think the starting lineup for today will give us an indication of where Conte's going for that first game against Southampton. I think there may be some surprises. I still think there may be that Lucas Moura at right wing back because he hasn't had much time there, and obviously he wants to experiment and do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's great to have a game back on home soil, and like James said, this time in 2 weeks, I'll already be at the stadium, so I'm buzzing. I can't wait.
Oh, you're a lucky man. You're making me jealous. So you are. And James, first chance to win our first trophy of the season, the WeAreTottenham Cup.
Don't. We're gonna get mocked for it if we win. By the way,
I don't care.
Just to point out. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if we win, it's just we're winning the game. We're not winning the trophy. I mean, we're winning the trophy as well, of course. But everyone else is going to mock us for that. But in terms of what was just said there, do we think Lucas right wing back? I'm not too sure, but I certainly think all the new signings will be implemented today. The Spurs admins are already hyping it right up and putting all the shirts up and all the shirt numbers and saying heart eyes, and everyone's absolutely buzzing over there as well.
And look, James, they can slag me all they want. I'll just turn around to them and say, "What have you won this season?" And their answer is 0. So they can slag us all they want. It doesn't matter. A trophy's a trophy at the end of the day. Beggars cannot be choosers. So we've got to win it. Everybody, all I ask for you to do is, if you do enjoy this show, everyone smash that like button, the subscribe button, and feel free at any time. As we know here at WeAreTottenhamTV, I was going to say the chat gets wet and wild, but it doesn't. It just gets hot and wild. So everybody, feel free to get your super chat in. It highlights it in the comment section, and we'll get to it and have a good discussion on it. I mean, Brian, are you happy with the caliber of the sort of preseason games we've played so far this season compared to, especially seasons gone by?
Yep. Well, we were talking about this on Sean's stream yesterday. You look at it, and unfortunately, the way football has gone now with money, everyone's doing these tours, whether it be America, Australia, Asia. they have to go and visit the fans worldwide, and also it's very, very lucrative, especially with us going to Asia. It was the right place to go for that. The games there weren't the best, were they? I mean, Sevilla was brutal. K
It was
League wasn't the
crap.
best. I remember when we played Juventus, Real Madrid, and other teams in like build-ups. But yeah, coming these two games are big. I mean, Rangers, like I said earlier, Scotland Rangers, Scotland England, sorry, is never a friendly. This is going to be a really hostile game. And then obviously you got Roma and Jose Mourinho. I said, you know what? When people said about just playing 4 friendlies, there are 2 ways to look at it. Do you think it's enough, or do you think it's because of the World Cup and everything's been moved early? And I'm kind of
Mm.
like, even if it was the World Cup moved early, I think Antonio Conte wants as much time on the training ground with his new players to bed them in and get them all synced. So when they do have these games, they can show what he's taught them over this. So I don't know if he would have wanted more anyway, but I think the caliber could have been slightly better. But these two come in a big games for very big reasons.
Yeah, 100%. And look, you make a very good point about, I think that's why we only have 4 games, because I think we have 16 league games thrown in plus Champions League games, I think, before the World Cup. So we will be going fast and heavy. So maybe it's not a bad idea having the 4 games and working the bollocks off them on the training pitch. Barry Ranjit, I don't know what you want to be called today. I'm not sure what name you picked out of the magic hat, my man. But, you know, do you think Conte will be looking into the sort of performance today, or do you think he'll adopt the same attitude he did against K League and Sevilla, and that it's only sort of pre-season, or do you think he'll be looking for a bit more today?
I think we're all probably looking for a bit more. We were missing that sharpness. Obviously, there was the heat and the humidity and the brutal 42 lengths of the pitch and everything else, right? So I think, you get Sunday, Monday, they had off, back at Hotspur Way on Tuesday, getting everyone embedded. And I think that's particularly like the new players and Richarlison in particular, he hasn't had time to learn the system. He hasn't had time on the training ground, and they'll be pulling double sessions now, probably between now and the start of the season to get them 100% ready. But yeah, I want to see a bit more fluidity. Let's just say that Sevilla game. Obviously, I was in the studio with Rez watching it. It kind of started a bit kind of hit and miss. Then it kind of lulled into kind of nothing. Then there was the excitement of the goals, and then with the multiple substitutions, the game just kind of petered out. So I want to see a bit more high intensity the first 20, 25 minutes. And that's how we want to try and hit the ground running for, especially for Roma, but ultimately for Southampton in front of the fans. So yeah, a bit more intensity for me, and I would like to keep a clean sheet today as well.
100%. Look, I definitely want to see a better performance from that back line. I think it's been all over the place the last couple of games. And look, for me, I get a lot of people are putting it down to preseason, but we're just ignoring the fact that these mistakes have been there their whole career. So I think we need to kind of wise up to that and not just put it down to preseason. And you guys out there in the chat, you're so unforgiving. We're well aware it's the wrong title, but there's nothing we can do now. So you may as well just suck it up and like it at the end of the day.
Dave, Sevilla is Scottish for Rangers, I heard.
Yeah, we're speaking the local lingo. So we are. But James, do you agree with Barry here that you want to see more from today's game rather than it just be brushed off as preseason?
100%. And at the end of the day, like you've been saying as well, like there's been a few individuals that really haven't been stepping it up. I won't go through them all, but there is definitely some defensive problems there. Davinson Sanchez has still kind of looked like his woeful self in terms of prone to mistakes. And of course, he does have the odd good game, but you can't be having that when you're going for titles, you're going for trophies, you're going for top 4. You can't have these players that could really put you really in the mud at the wrong moments. And that's something we really need to eradicate. I know we need to get rid of some of the dead wood before going into the new season. Whether that's Davinson Sanchez, I'm not too sure, but certainly the likes of Harry Winks and Ndombele, who aren't part of the plans, they need to move on. So in terms of stepping up today, for sure, because he's going to want to look at the kind of type of starting 11 he's going to go for against Southampton, and we're going to want to see how the likes of Basuma does, the likes of Perisic do. These players that have not really had too much of an opportunity. Obviously, Basuma had COVID, so he's going to want to bed them in slowly, but also I say slowly, quite quickly, as we know, because we're only 10 days around the corner from the new season. But certainly I would love to see it stepped up today. And I think Conte said kind of almost that game in Korea was sort of obviously a test, but also a bit of a holiday in a way in terms of taking the players over to South Korea. It helps the worldwide Spurs brand. It helps that kind of exposure over there and monetizes Spurs, even more. So they would have made a lot of money over there, but now it's time for more about the football. And as Brian said rightly, England versus Scotland is never going to be a friendly.
No, it never is. It's going to be tasty. There'll be some good challenges flying in. And look, these guys only bet West Ham recently. I think it was 3-1, and their season starts next week. So they're already a few kind of sort of weeks ahead in the process of pre-season for us. So it'll be very interesting to see how it pans out. Daigle, Ulster Spurs says, are we hoping for a nightmare from our defence today to push our need for the centre-back before the season starts? Better it happens in pre-season than in the regular season. Come on, you Spurs. What would you say to him?
Well, first of all, big up Ulster Spurs because he's a big fan of all the channels. So it's always good to see these people always in the channels. So you never want to wish for a nightmare, do you? You never want to wish for a nightmare. But we said it a bid before under Jose. Do you remember when we used to say, is Jose doing this to send a message to the board to say we need a player in this position? Yeah. I'd never like to think that a manager will actually do that, to like sacrifice the team for the sake of his own gain. I honestly, I'm convinced Bastoni is back on anyway. I mean, obviously, I don't know anything. I really think Bastoni is back on. And if it is, with Bastoni, I don't care if we get him on deadline day. He's one that I will wait for because it could take a long time, that kind of deal. If one of them have a nightmare, it may force him into action. But from what we're understanding, Longlay's playing as well, isn't he? So if Longley has a very good game, they may see what they can do. Whether it's maybe if Dyer's out, they may move him to the centre and put Davies at left. So we don't know what Longley can do in the middle of a three. So I hope we don't have a nightmare. I see where he's coming from completely. But I really think there's a big defender coming in, and I'm praying it's Bastoni. I honestly think that's why Paratici has gone very, very quiet, because they're keeping this, whatever deal it may be, not Bastoni. I hope it is, but that's what I think. And I've just seen Mr. Danny Kiriakou. Thank God he's alive. The guy, he's very, very hard to get in touch with. Danny, love you, brother.
You can call off the search party now, Dave.
I can let Interpol know to stop the search for Danny.
Absolutely love that. Well, there you are, Ulster Spurs. Let us know what your thoughts are on what Mr. Daigle had to say there. Of course, Ben Davies is expected to miss out, picking up an ankle injury. They're hoping to be back for first game of the season. Yves Bissouma and Fraser Forster are back. Should be in contention today for a starting place. Obviously hitting COVID out in Korea, so hopefully they'll play some part today. Langley, who missed the trip to Korea because he couldn't get the visa, he's back today. Of course, new signing Jed Spence, and it'd be interesting to see whether Conte rolls the dice on Perisic or not. And we will talk a little bit about them. Actually, Baz, do you think Conte should roll the dice on Perisic, or do you think he should hold them back?
I think, well, it depends what he's thinking and what he's seeing. If it's a chance of picking up an injury that may be long term, then no, it's not worth the risk. But if it's not, if there's that chance to get him on board and get him started, then yeah, that would be exciting. But yeah, look, the other thing that I said about or notes in the comments is we need to have no injuries, right? Because we need to make sure that we come out healthy. That's the most important thing. But look, if Basuma's playing, Jed Spence, Longley, Bissouma, I wouldn't be surprised if Forster gets in there with that Celtic Rangers link there. So yeah, it's exciting, right? And I really can't wait to see what's going to happen, because it's a chance for them to take their opportunities. And that's what we want, right? We want everyone. We need to get away from this backup striker, this backup left back, and everything else. They're a squad now. We've gone from maybe 14 to 18, 19. We know we need a couple more, but no one should be there and saying, apart from Son and Kane, the rest of them, you can't really say who's going to be in that starting 11. So let's get it on. And if Perisic, Longley, Dyer, Romero, and Spence is the back line, then that's exciting for me.
Yeah, it definitely excites me, and it'd be interesting to see how 3 of the new signings get on. And we will touch a little bit on the new signings in a minute. But James, what do you want to see from the team selection today from Conte? Because lineups are out in about 10 minutes. Do you want to see kind of full-strength team out there, or do you want to see maybe the likes of Gill, White, Papa Matasar given one last opportunity maybe?
No, I would like to see it as strong as possible, because at the end of the day, we're literally 2 games away from the new season. In terms of Pepe Matasar and some of the youngsters, maybe like a Harvey White. Of course, like Harvey White impressed me, but Pepe Matasar and Brian Hill, these are players that have had chances to impress. I mean, Pepe Matasar, of course, in France, but he's the Young African Player of the Year. Maybe we should give him a bit more credit. But in all seriousness, I think it's more about the season now, like I said, many times. And I think we need to be, if we're not starting the full 11 that Conte would like for that game against Southampton, I think for sure we need to be, 7 or 8 of them at least, and then 2 or 3 of them can come off the bench, because of course we'll make many subs during the game. I just think it's important that Conte gets what he wants out of the game, whether it's he's 50-50 on who he's starting at right wing back. He needs to get his answers today, and certainly in the final friendly. So I think as long as he's comfortable with experimenting with those parts, and we're playing 75%, 80% of our starting 11, I think that's the ideal situation today.
Yeah, I think so. I think there definitely has to be a look in view of terms of the start of the season in today's game. But Brian, what do you think? Do you think Conte will experiment and keep doing the 45 minutes like we've been seeing? Or do you think he should actually have one eye on the first game of the season and play them for as long as he can, and then make subs and maybe midway through the second half?
So this is, like I said to you, the first 2 games, I didn't care how long minutes got, whatever, rotate. It's all 11 subs like you can today. But for me, this is now where those 2 are the dress rehearsals. Now these are like the final calls before the curtain raises. And for me, I like Nick said, I think these 2 games you're going to start seeing what Conte has in mind. These are the 2 games where he's like, right, this is what I want to start the season with. I want to see if they can do it. So I expect to see people who he knows are going to start, or in with a chance of to get more than 45 minutes, whether it be a 60, 65, 70 going on. But I think in the next 2 games, you'll see certain players play a lot longer than others. Because he's got to get, it's all good, like I said at the beginning, getting the fitness levels up and everything, but there's no substitute for game minutes in your legs and properly having a bit of game time. So today, I expect to see people like Romero have more than 45 minutes, Son and Kane, Bentancur. If Perisic is fit, let's see. I don't know if Perisic will, because obviously it'll be his first game, but I expect to see a nucleus of the players getting more than 45 minutes to get those minutes in their legs. So it could be they come on in the first half after 35 minutes and then carry on. But I expect at least 4 or 5 of them to get a good 60, 70 minutes under their belt.
Yeah, that would be nice. It'd be very exciting to see as well. Baz, despite the Roma game coming up, could this be truly the last chance for maybe any of the players on the periphery to impress Conte and actually earn a spot or a role in the squad for this upcoming season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got you've got the question. I mean, you've got obviously Skippy coming back from injury. You've got Basuma. So does that put question marks over Højbjerg in the midfield? Obviously, we've got Perisic now. So where does that sit with Sessegnon? Spence on the right hand side. We've got Royale and Doherty. So look, there's plenty of questions. I think across that back line, realistically, depending on what's happened with Ben Davies, you'd probably go into the Southampton game with Dyer, Davis, and Romero as the back 3. But if the injury turns out to be something more and Longley impresses, he gets his chance. And again, you never really know what can happen, because Longley can play centre back and he can play left centre back. So I guess it's all up for grabs. No one's, like I said, no one's started on nailed started, probably apart from Kane and Son. But it is a chance now. We're back on home soil, and it's a chance for all of them to kind of put their hands up and say, yeah, we're in a team here where, for example, Royale, He knows there's competitions from Spence. He knows Doherty's back. Whereas at the end of last season, he knew he was going to play regardless, right? And fair play to him. He did play well. Let's give credit where credit's due. We're quick to jump on them when they have a bad performance, but he improved towards the end of the season. Sanchez as well, when he came in for Romero for that North London derby, we were all worried, outside going, oh my God, this isn't going to go well. And he played his socks off. So maybe it is a chance where they've lost that fear. They've lost that, oh my God, I'm coming in. But they come in, they perform. And what a great, situation to be in. If we've got the 11 players on the pitch and we've got 6 or 7 on the bench that are fighting, it's an incredible place to be in.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Diego, I'm going to leave you with a question for a minute, man. I have to run to the toilet. My kidneys.
Yep, no worries.
Man. Will you take over for a minute?
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, you go do what you're doing, mate. So James, you were about to answer about obviously the question David was asking about what do you expect to see today. So what are you hoping and expecting to see?
What am I expecting to see? Hopefully a massive win. But what do I want to see? Of course, a win, but also to Conte to get his in his head. He knows exactly the 11 that's going to start against Southampton. He also wants to see, full commitment. He doesn't want to see any of these players that are passengers. Of course, we shouldn't be seeing that now. We've kind of cleared that Deadwood situation where obviously Ndombele and Lo Celso and Winks aren't in the mix. So you'd hope to see full commitment from everyone. I'd like to see a little bit of an improvement from those players that haven't fully convinced me yet. If Davinson Sanchez does feature at any moment, I want to see him playing, not like he doesn't know where the ball is again and really switched on again. But we know, like I said, Davinson Sanchez can be a good player, but, sometimes he does let us down. And we don't want players like that letting us down in big moments, in big games. This isn't a big game. This isn't a big moment, but this is a chance to prove that you can be stepping up to those big moments and playing against the likes of, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool in the Premier League and not making mistakes. We want to be sure that we are toe-to-toe with these teams because at the end of the day, that's what Conte wants this season. Technically, he might not be here for many more years. We know his contract situation. This is a really key year in Tottenham's history because if we do well and we win something and we get top 4, Conte may go, do you know what? I can take this one more maybe with his team. But if he doesn't see much of an improvement from last year, that's when we could see Conte going. And I don't want to get to that situation and talk negatively on that, but I'm just saying this season is so key and it's important to start off on the right foot. And today is almost, if you like, the start because it's preparing for the huge season ahead.
So what I want to talk about? I want to talk about something now. Obviously, whilst Davis just quickly popped away, and I've seen it in the comments a few times now. Obviously, the time difference here, it's only 8 o'clock coming up 9. So I haven't really checked team news, but I've seen quite a few people say in the chat that Ollie Skipp's picked up an injury. I don't know how if that's official or if that's confirmed. But the thing that I want to talk about, obviously, if he is injured, obviously we don't know if it's minor or another big injury. Are we starting to worry about? Obviously, we talk about the 4 midfielders that we have, and he's a big part of it. David asked the question about, or also Spurs did about the defence. If Ollie Skipp's picked up another injury, do you reckon we need another midfielder?
No,
he's picking up these injuries.
No. I think from what I was seeing and what I've been reading, it's not linked to his previous injury, and it's only a minor injury, and he hasn't travelled, so it's just a precaution. So I think it'll be. I think the big statement of him getting the number 4 shirt, and we've got to remember he's coming back from a pretty serious injury. So I think it's just precaution. I don't think we need to necessarily worry too much about it. Let's just say. I just hope it isn't serious because we then go Basuma. We have Basuma, Bentancur, and Højbjerg, and then Mr. Winks, who is just hanging on like a bad smell, like with his fingernails. He's thinking, "Oh, I could be okay now. I could still be here." Because the one thing we were speaking about it yesterday is that Winks needs to do the right thing and give up the number 8 to Basuma, right? Because that's the way that it's kind of heading. So, yeah, I hope it's nothing serious.
So I'll just let you know, Nick, sorry, because there's loads of people in the comments now saying it, and thank you for doing that. But apparently, Ali Gold has confirmed it's just a minor knock.
Yeah.
So it's not so that's good. But someone else put in the chat, which is also a good point. And who was it? Because I'd always give them the credit, and I got to find it. Someone was saying if that happens, obviously we've got the option of having African's Young Player of the Year, Matty Sarr, stay. So maybe it's not. Maybe no. It's a fair point. I mean,
No, it's a good point. Very good point.
What do you reckon on it, James?
Yeah, I think hopefully it is just a minor knock at the end of the day. In terms of your question about, do we need another centre mid? I think you're spot on. At the end of the day, if we can't get someone secured, maybe on a loan or on a decent deal before the end of the window, of course you look to Pepe Matasar. We've got players in the ranks. Even players like Harvey White could even drop back there if need be. So I think it's not a huge concern, especially if it's only a knock. But if it is something to do with that hip injury, of course, that's when you start worrying. But as you said, Alistair Gold has cleared it up. It's just a small knock, and hopefully we can just be hopeful that Skip's back as soon as possible in the next week or two.
So I'm going to keep this on the midfield, and I'll go to you first, Nick. Obviously,
Yep.
This should be the first time we finally get to see Yves Bissouma.
Yep.
Just how excited are you to see him in a Spurs shirt, and what do you reckon he is actually going to bring to this squad or to the team?
I'm frantically refreshing the thing for the app for the lineups. I know the Rangers lineup is out, but we're just waiting. But yeah, look, Bissouma, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane to have someone like that in the midfield. I know we are kind of going down the route of what Sir Alex Ferguson was doing and what he used to do, going and buying the best players from the other teams. So we've gone and got Richarlison, who was Everton's best player. We've gone to Brighton and got their best player. I think it'll be interesting to see how he's used and who is that. I don't think there will be that preferential two in that midfield because, like you said, James, we've got so many games coming thick and fast that I don't think you can sit there and say it's going to be Skip and Bentancur. It's going to be Højbjerg and Bissouma or a combination of the other two, right? I think
it depends on the game as well, doesn't it? It depends what game we're playing.
Absolutely. And I think if it's a game that requires a lot of energy, a lot of running, then probably Skip and Bentancur start. If it's a game where there needs a bit of let's just say a bit of people to get stuck in, then maybe it's Bissouma and Højbjerg. I just think that I'm just really excited that we've got options now off the bench that with players that can make a difference. And, that for me is the biggest thing because, what we didn't have anything coming off the bench. And now we do. And that's what's really, really exciting. And that's what's brilliant. That's what's brilliant about it.
I'm looking forward to as well about Bissouma. Obviously, he's a solid player defensively. He can get forward. He can contribute to goals. But did you guys see that training shot of him literally so casually, like shouldering it, keeping up, head? It's almost like Ronaldinho. I'm not even joking. Like it's honestly, he's ridiculously good.
That's a bold comparison.
That is a bold comparison. You can hear me though, but he is so skillful. Maybe not quite, Ronaldinho levels, but he is a skillful player. People see him as almost like a Dembele. Dembele had skill, but this guy is super talented. But I'm just wondering where these lineups are now because I don't know.
I know they're teasing us, right? Because it's late. The lineups are late.
There they are. I've got it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Right, Lloris in goal. Royale is right wing back. Left wing back, Sessegnon. Then you got Dyer, Sanchez, and Romero. In the middle, you got Højbjerg and Bentancur. And then you got Kane, Son, and Kulusevski.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm surprised Sanchez is in there. Actually, I'm surprised there's Sanchez and no Longley.
So all the teasing of Perisic, Bissouma, Spence, and Longley shirts.
Bissouma's on the bench. Who else is on the bench?
So the
James?
bench is Forster, Austin, Spence, Doherty, Tanganga, Rodon, Longley, Perisic, Sarr, Bissouma, Brian Hill, Lucas, and Richarlison.
Okay, so I would imagine we will see Bissouma and Longley at some point, probably in the second half.
And Spence, I think, and Richarlison. Yeah.
Oh, of course, I didn't forget about Spence, but I actually thought he was going to start with the front three was the normal three. Kane,
Son, and
Kane, Son,
Kulusevski.
Kulu. I actually thought Richarlison was going to start. I really had a thought. I thought he was going to save Kulu for Roma or to start at Roma. Any surprises for you, Nick, in that lineup?
No, I mean, look, I think he's going with the tried and tested. I think out of all of the players, if we look at what happened last season, they're the players that know the system the best. Obviously, yes, Perisic knows Conte from Inter, but they're the ones that know the system the best. I think that we will see those substitutions coming on. But I think in terms of the Richarlison / Kulusevski question mark, we were talking about this yesterday. I think obviously Richarlison's banned for the first game, but I think Richarlison starts against Chelsea purely because I think Kulusevski, like we saw against Leicester last season, has more of an impact coming off the bench, and it's going to be that type of game at Chelsea that we're gonna need players to get stuck in. And we saw the way that Richarlison's jumped in to protect Son when that severe player headbutt or went to try and eat his elbow the other week. So yeah, we all want to see the new signings. I think this 11 is pointing to the 11 that will start the Southampton game, or bar maybe Sanchez and Davis. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to keep faith with the players that that ended that season so strongly.
James, what about yourself? Any surprises?
I'm surprised there's not more new signings, of course, integrated into this 11. But I almost feel like, and let me know what you guys think in maybe the comments, is this is kind of like, well, this is pretty much almost the starting 11 we had last season. Take it away, guys. Hold your places. Otherwise, there's 5 or 6 new signings ready, eager to get on that pitch and prove that they're worthwhile in this Spurs 11. So it's a kind of a case of Conte's gone, guys, go and show me what you got. But, you got Richarlison's on your heels, Kulusevski. You got Basuma on your heels, Højbjerg and Bentancur. That's what I think it's like. I mean, of course, we're going to mix it up regardless of how they play. But I just think it's a case of he's sticking to what he knows, and these new signings are right on the tails. And I quite like it like that, It's like it's a chance for the current players to hold on and the new players to weave their way in.
So before we go to the next question, and just to let you know, people, David won't be back. He's had something come up, so David won't be back. It'll be the 3 of us till the end, and we'll be going till 9:30. But I just want to address a person in the chat.
9:30?
Canadian time.
I was going to say I'm here for a while.
2:30 your time. Sorry. I just want to address someone in the chat because it's a lovely day here in Toronto. I'm sure it's a lovely day in London. Nick's about to have a barbecue with his family. Everyone's going to enjoy this Saturday and the weekend itself. And I know when I have my spare time and it's a beautiful day and it's Sunday, the one thing I don't go on to is go onto Arsenal Fan TV and start trolling. So Pepe Nicholas, who likes to say 0 trophies, go get a life. Go enjoy your Saturday. Go have some fun. Go watch some Arsenal content rather than spouting your pointless, unfunny, ridiculous. I could start saying it's been over 2,500 days since you finished above us on every Arsenal channel, but I don't. So you crack on and do what you got to do, but just go outside and enjoy the sun. But now, getting back to Tottenham, Richarlison. No, we spoke about that, didn't we? So someone said it yesterday. I think it was Sean. Do you expect to see Fraser Foster come on against some minutes with his Celtic connections and really make this turn from a unfriendly friendly to a serious bloodbath, so to speak?
I think so. I think why not? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure is it unlimited substitutes in this game. So I think we're going to see pretty much the whole bench integrated at some point. And yeah, why not? Fraser Forster, like you said, he used to play for Celtic, rustle a few feathers maybe. But I just think, it's never going to be, proper aggro in the game. I think it's just going to be a case of there's going to be a few tackles flying in. I know that the Rangers players haven't looked at their lineup yet, but I know that a few of their players really like a crunching tackle. James Tavernier is one for a yellow card. I think we could see a couple of yellow cards in this game as well. But I think, like you said, Brian, that certainly is one to consider. I think he will come on.
What about yourself, Nick?
Yeah, I think that's Conte all over. Hey,
Wee.
Look who it is. Look
What's going on,
who
guys?
it is.
I
What's up,
got the
brother?
call from Dave. I got the call up. So
Do you
here
know
I
what?
am.
Well,
Have me in there.
say what now? If they're ever to be, oh, there's Simeon in the background. There's a
yeah,
super
he's
super
fixing the
sub in the
TVs in
background.
the background. Look, they're
Look-
broken.
Look at that! Look at that! I was thinking as David asked me to carry on, I was like, okay, how do I end this stream? Because I haven't got the. Thank God you guys when it comes to the rescue. But we're just talking about Fraser Foster. Ben, do you reckon he may come on
Yeah.
and ruffle some
I haven't
Rangers
seen the
feathers?
lineup actually.
It's out.
It's very much
Sorry,
a
say that
current
again, Daniel?
lineup.
Go on,
James, have you got
James.
it to hand?
Go
Yeah,
on,
of
James.
course.
No new signing.
Again, so it's pretty much like what we were doing last season. So it's Lloris. Then the middle three is Romero, Dyer, and Sanchez. Then you got Sessegnon and Emerson on both wing backs, Højbjerg and Bentancur, and then Son, Kane, and Kulusevski. So it's very much no new signings, very much a current team.
What's your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I'm a bit. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just a pre-season at the end of the day, so you can't read much into it. I think there's going to be a lot of swapping and changing throughout the game, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen Lenglet play in that left centre back role. That's the only one for me. I mean, I don't really want to see Sanchez there. He doesn't look too comfortable in that left side role. So the one for me is probably Lenglet. I would have liked to have seen him. I would have liked to have seen him get a run out today.
Any
Yeah.
other shocks in there for you? What would you like to see Richarlison get a few more minutes and get used to playing with the team? Ben?
No, I'm not too bothered about Richarlison. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, I wasn't too bothered about Richarlison because Kulusevski's not got much minutes yet in pre-season. So and Kulusevski needs the minutes in his legs. So I'm happy with that. And Richarlison will come on and get some minutes. I'm not too worried about that at all.
There we go.
Ben-
What was I saying as well? What do we expect to see from Rangers? Because obviously they're going to be a test for us, aren't they? They're going to be physical. They're going to be the atmosphere is going to be rife at Ibox. It's a very very hostile stadium. What do you expect Rangers can chuck our way?
Look, Rangers are going to be super aggressive. They're going to want it. I think it's a sellout crowd today, but I'm not 100% sure. And the fans will be completely behind them with a big Premier League team coming to town. And you got to remember, last week they played West Ham and played them off the park. They battered them 3-1 in a pre-season friendly. So I'm not expecting a light game today, but I think that's exactly the way Antonio Conte likes it. So bring on the physical battle today. I think it's going to be a good game of football.
Yeah, they've actually. I was just looking at the Rangers lineup. They've got like the likes of James Tavernier playing, Connor Goldson, Sutar, Barisic, Lundstrom, Kamara. They all love a tackle. Ryan Kent. They're all very physical players. So I think it's like you said, Ben. It's good for the physicality and getting those players ready for the first few games of the Prem.
And what about you, Nick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think,
And,
like
you
I
know,
said, I think that it's
Sorry,
going to
what'd you say,
be.
David?
No, Nick was asking. Ben, I think you've got a lag, buddy. In We Are Tottenham TV HQ, I think you have a lag.
I do, mate.
So Simeon's got to sort those TVs
do.
and the internet out.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
come on, Sim.
wonder how many times. I wonder how many times the stream's going to get loose connection today, Ben. It lost quite a bit last weekend, so yeah. Look, I think we just need to be mindful of the tackles, but look, we know we're going to have tough games ahead of us, so I'm all for it as long as the ref does his job this week, because he didn't really do his job last week in the Sevilla game. So.
There you go. Ben, sorry, you were about to say something. Have you got any question, Ben?
Yeah.
I think he's lagging behind.
He is really lagging.
No, it keeps lagging. I'm gonna log off. You go out without me, but I'll make sure to end the stream.
Okay.
Cool.
We shall do that. We shall do that. So do we actually think Sanchez will play left? Do you think he might put Romero or sacrifice Dyer trying that? Because obviously we've seen with Sanchez, and I've stuck by him for a few occasions. And unfortunately with him, I believe that that with Sanchez, when he plays and he comes in like he did at the end of the last season,
Yeah.
when it's 3 or 4 games, he can do a job. But whereas
100%.
other players need minutes and get better as they go on, Sanchez kind of starts at his top and then regresses.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
So with Sanchez, would you sacrifice someone else on the left and put him somewhere else in that defence? And we'll go to you first, Nick.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not really sure how we play that out, if I'm honest. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what. I don't know what you're sacrificing. What for what who? Where would you? I just don't know. I just don't know what you do.
I was waiting for an answer. It's never coming.
I really thought you were going to go to like a philosophical. Here we
I
go.
was
Well,
trying
here's
to
my
go to philosophical, and then I've just got. It's just not. Nah, it's gone. I'm out. I'm all out.
What about you then, James?
Yeah, the only thing I'd say on it is that it looks like Sanchez will play left centre back. If you're looking at the lineup, you've obviously got Dyer centre back, and Romero loves it on the right centre back. But when, like you were saying, Brian, at the end of last season, where Sanchez came in and you kind of had Sanchez almost playing a right centre back, and he did do a job against Arsenal, although they didn't really threaten us much in that game. But I think it's difficult putting Sanchez at the centre back because he's so much more of a risk. He's so much more, that position is so key. You're holding the whole lineup together in the centre back. And if you've got one mistake, one hole in that defence, straight through on goal. So I think it's an interesting one today, but I just want to hope for a better performance from Sanchez. But I think you're spot on, Brian. As soon as Sanchez comes in, he might have one great game and then it just plateaus down progressively. And I think we'll see Longley come on anyway in that one.
Do you know what I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to see. I've seen some questions and points come through in the chat. So if people have comments in the chat, because David was leading all the questions, but
Yeah.
I've just seen a great one, and I'm going to bring it up. I can't bring it up because I haven't got the admin rights. But from THFC Caveman, he's saying, is Rodon available? Give him a run out. I think this is another clear indication, isn't it? That Rodon, once again, because we're looking at him on this left defence, and it's a great point by THFC, he just doesn't figure, does he? It doesn't matter what we do. It's now, 4 or 5 managers. This would have been a perfect time to even put him in the shop window, don't you guys think? And we'll go to you first, James.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, he's on the bench, of course. I think maybe he will come on. Maybe, obviously, he won't. But I think it's a definite indicator that he's gone through Mourinho, Mason, Nuno, and now, of course, Conte in the short space of time, only even 2 seasons, and he's not really featured much. I remember he even got his Prem debut against Chelsea away, and he actually played very solidly, if you remember. I think it was actually a 0-0. But at the end of the day, Joe Rodon, if it's not going to work for him at Tottenham, and 4 pretty good managers minus Nuno, and Mason's not really a manager, but, at the end of the day, there's obviously something there that doesn't quite fit, that doesn't quite feature for Joe Rodon in a Spurs shirt. And maybe it's a chance for him to get 1 run out today, maybe 2. Maybe we'll send him on loan before the end of the window. I know there has been talks, but it's just a shame it hasn't fully worked out for him, because I do think he's a talented player. And when he plays alongside Ben Davies for Wales, he does look solid. So let's see what happens. But let's hope he gets a few minutes at least.
Nick?
Yeah, you're right. Rodon, whatever's happened is still can't seem to get in the side, even as and when Sanchez is having a nightmare and Ben Davies isn't available. So yeah, I think there's obviously something brewing. There's the talk of Jose Mourinho wanting him. There's obviously the Zaniolo to Spurs as well. There may be something involved in that. So yeah, I think it's just a case of let's just get through the next couple of games. Let's get towards however far in this transfer window that we need to do to make that Zaniolo deal, because I think that looks like that's happening. I'm not convinced with his injury record, but obviously Conte and Paratici see something that we don't, and they're more of experts than us. But yeah, so I think there's legs in that. So I think that's the reason we wouldn't want to put him in, and knowing it's going to be a physical game, he gets an injury, and then it kind of we're down to plan C or plan D with that signing. So
Ben, first of all, what's 1 + 1?
2.
Okay, the lag's got better. The lag's got us. That's how I always do the testing. But yeah, we were just saying, THFC Caveman put in the chat as well, when we're talking about Sanchez on the left, and obviously you wanted Langley. I think we all wanted Langley. But he said as well, I think this is just another clear indicator that Rodon just, once again, it doesn't matter what happens, he's just not going to start, doesn't it?
The thing is with Rodon, Conte's always said that he can only play in the centre, not on the left, not on the right, but in the centre of the back three. Obviously, everyone knows that that's Dyer's position, and also we also know that Conte ain't playing the players that he doesn't see a future here for. And I think Rodon, as much as he was going to go on that South Korean tour, I think Rodon does fall into that category, which I'm fine with. No manager seems to have got to grips with Rodon or fancied Rodon since he's come here. So unfortunately, I don't have a problem with it. There's no point playing players in these friendlies that we're not going to be using over the course of the season and that are not going to be here. So
the only thing I'll say with that, Ben, is obviously with Dembele, Lo Celso, Winks, we know why. They just don't fit. They've had their chances. Do you not think with Rodon being at the age, it's a chance to showcase him? If there is serious interest in him and we don't know, he goes and has a good game against Rangers. They might be like, right, we've seen it. Now we're going to up. With these kind of players, I'm willing to give them a game during the friendlies to put them in the shop window.
I don't think so. No, I don't agree with that, because I think that, first of all, there are clubs that are interested in him anyway. Roma have been interested. We've heard interest as well from lower Premier League teams. And I don't think any club are going to come forward just because of he put in a performance against Rangers in a pre-season friendly. I think all the kind of interest in him will be predating that. So I don't really think one friendly against Rangers can change anything, to be honest.
There you go. So that just put me back in my place. So yeah. Now you said it. I mean, obviously, let's go back onto let's speak about Perisic. Obviously, we pray that he's got minutes in him today. Is this for your first game? And this is going to sound weird what I'm about to say. Why not? It's me. Premier League, obviously, different league to Italy. We know he's got all the bottle, the steel, but coming back to fitness and the fact that this is England, Scotland, so to speak, is this the right game to give him minutes? So what I think I'm asking is, would you want to see him today, and if so, for how long, or would you rather he just start at Roma?
No, I'd love to see him today. I'd absolutely love to see him today. I think
20-30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
James,
20-30 minutes. Yeah.
Spot on. 20-30 minutes of him. You can just see him coming on, go bombing on down that wing, cutting inside, putting one in the top bin. That would just be insane scenes. So yeah, 20-30 minutes to be fair, 20-30 minutes of him, Basuma, Spence, that would do it. That would do it for me. I'd be happy with that today. So we'll just have to wait and see. And then obviously, it all depends. I guess it all depends on how Højbjerg and Bentancur start. But obviously, look, they played a lot better than together than the other sort of combinations did the first two games. So we should be solid in that midfield. And yeah, Kulusevski's got to get some game times under his belt. And yeah, he's the ginger from Sweden's going to put some magic out there today as well.
What about you, James?
Yeah, I just want to see a great performance at the end of the day. I don't want to come out of this game and it be like, that game against Sevilla where we're all a bit subdued and we weren't too sure some of these players, are they still up to it? And I just want to not come out of this game with any of these players just having more doubts on them. I mean, at the end of the day, we've still got to clear some of this dead wood. We know who we've got to get rid of, but it's a time for these new signings to prove what they're made of. And at the end of the day, yes, none of them have started, but maybe that's a good thing. Like I was saying on my point earlier, if they've almost got to integrate and beat the current players that have already been playing for Tottenham last season. And if Conte can clearly see that, Spence is an upgrade on Emerson today, if he can clearly see that Basuma comes in and trounces all over Højbjerg's performance, I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, we're trying to improve this team, we're trying to improve this squad, and we're trying to reach for bigger goals. And I think that's the most important thing.
You just mentioned Højbjerg, actually. Let's talk about him. Are you surprised to see him start? Because obviously he started the first two games in Korea and he has not been, and this is me speaking, and my love for that man is unquestionable. But I was very, very disappointed with him, especially against Sevilla. So
exactly.
Last season he got dropped against Wolves, didn't he? Then he came back and he was fighting fit. Is anyone here surprised to see him start?
No, I don't think so, Brian. I think I think we saw when Bentancur came on that second half, there was that, and Kulusevski next to him, there was that familiarity. Obviously, Skip was coming back from an injury, and hadn't played. So there was that familiarity, there was that trust. They played with each other for a long time. They know each other. They know where each other are going to be on that pitch. So I'm not surprised. But like we've all said, look at that bench today. Richarlison, Perisic, Spence, Longley, Basuma. Last season, Winks, Mora, that was it, right? So look, that has just got me really excited because we've got players now that can come off the bench, can impact games, can push the players that are on the field so they're not comfortable, they're out of their comfort zone, they know they're under pressure, and yeah, absolutely buzzing for it.
And James?
Tell you once more, mate.
Have you answered the question about Højbjerg?
I think so. I think I've already talked about Højbjerg, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think to be fair, I think we've technically got two better players than Højbjerg in the 11, but then it depends what formation you play. You could play a 3 in midfield, don't forget. I'm sure Conte will mix that up on some games. And the other thing is, at the end of the day, yes, Højbjerg hasn't been the best in these friendlies, like you mentioned, Brian, but at the same time, I think he's very much done this on purpose with the current 11. So these new signings come on and you can almost see that they're an improvement, or you can see that they can start the game against Southampton. I think he's done it on purpose, to be honest with you. I think it's too clear that he's got all the new signings on the bench and all the current players on the 11. I just think there's a reason for that.
There we go. So now I think we'll go full circle now, and we'll start doing score predictions and stuff. So, but I'm going to add a couple of questions in there first. Player you're excited to see that's in the starting lineup, and you think is going to have a good game. Most excited player from the bench that you're really looking forward to seeing, and score prediction. And we're going to start with you, James, and work.
Oh, okay. So player that's starting, I'm most likely to be excited for is the current 11, right? It's the current team from last season. It's going to be Son or Kane. So I'm going to say Son because I think he's shown sparks, his skill in the couple of preseason games where he assisted Kane. He looks so sharp still, and I'm looking forward to seeing Sonny. I wouldn't be surprised if he bags 1 or 2 today. Off the bench, I'm going to have to say, I think a lot of people are going to say Perisic. A lot of people are going to say perhaps Longley because they want to see what he's like at left centre-back. But for me, I'm going Basuma. This guy I've been so excited to see for, he's one of the first signings. And he's just, honestly, he is such a good player. And the money we got him for, I can't wait to prove to everyone that, he is the best signing of the season, value for money. So I'm going to say Basuma. Hopefully he gets at least 30 minutes. And then score prediction. Ooh, I get to go first on this one. I'm going to say 3-1 Tottenham. I think Rangers are a very difficult team, especially at home to beat. However, I think we've just got more in our locker than them, and I can see it being a tight game, but also maybe a 2-1, and then we score again at the end. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 Spurs win.
Over to you, Nicolas. So
for me, the player that I'm most excited of seeing on the pitch is Kulusevski. He's the impact that he had from January was just insane, and you've all seen the videos, of Ben singing in the number 8 with the guy with the Kulu flag and everything else, right? And yeah, so Kulusevski for me on the pitch, I'm with James. Basuma coming on and just like making some crunching tackles and just running the show when he comes on, running that midfield. Him and Bentancur are going to be. Well, it's just exciting that those two together. Score for me, I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to say we get that clean sheet. And I'm going to say that we're going to have a Kulusevski, Son and Kane. All those three are going to get on the score sheet today.
Wow.
Ben.
Player I'm most excited to see. I'm also going Kulusevski, Ginger from Sweden. He hasn't started either friendly so far, so I'm really excited to see him. And obviously, all the clips going around social media about all his media duties and everything. The guy's an absolutely top class act. Love everything about him. Player from the bench. I mean, I was going to pick Basuma, but seeing as both of you guys have picked Basuma, I'm going to go for Perisic.
Nice.
So Perisic, I think that, look, everyone is sleeping on Ivan Perisic. No one seems to be mentioning him when they're talking about Spurs' new signings and stuff. And I think he's going to be an absolute revelation on that left wing back. And score prediction, I think it's going to be a lot of goals today. I'm going to go for 4-2 to Spurs.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to choose completely different players from all of you. So, player that I'm looking at the start is Romero.
Emerson Royal,
Romero, mate. Romero in these kind of games.
and Harry Winks off the bench.
How do you guess that?
He's like Leslie King.
I'm definitely going for Romero. We know what this man is like. He is like a beast, and I think this game is going to be. He's probably chomping at the bit to get out there now. He probably cannot wait to get out there. So I'm going Romero. Person I'm looking forward to seeing off the bench is actually Jed Spence. Because we know what all of the others can do. They've done it where they've done it. Obviously, there's been a lot of hype and a lot of waiting to get this guy over, and then now it's finally done. I want to see what this kid can do, and I hopefully he'll come on. So I'm going to go for those two. I'm going in between James and Ben's score. I'm actually going 3-2.
Nice.
I'm going 3-2. I think there are going to be goals, and I think like that Wolves game where there were 4 sendings off, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple in this game. I really wouldn't be surprised if there were a couple in this game.
Friendlies.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was watching it. They're showing it on TalkSport. They had Wolves at the training ground played again. I think it was Getafe or a Spanish team.
I heard about this,
yeah, and 2 players got sent off from each team, and there were mass brawls and everything. So I think the crowd are going to play their part in this today as well. So I can see a red card.
There was one in the Man United game as well the other day. I think a Man United player got sent off against Palace. So yeah,
really?
It's been a bit of a thing in friendlies recently, even though they're meant to be friendlies. It says it in the name, but obviously it's not. Let
Romero get that pent out aggression back that he can't take out on Richarlison anymore. So it's all going to be pent up there. But we'll have a quick spin around and promote the channels, and then Ben can do the thing that thank God he can do and end the stream, because this could have been going on for a long time. And we'll start with you, James.
Cool, yeah. Firstly, Ben, thanks for inviting me on, mate. Really do appreciate it. This morning, got the message, and of course, I'm going to come on here. I think it was the first time I've been on your channel, so yeah, thanks for inviting me on. Really enjoyed talking about it, buzzing for the game. You're
probably one of the few people, James, that I've been on your channel more than you've been on my channel.
Look at that. No, that's a privilege, I guess. But there you go. Hopefully it's the first of many. And yeah, you can find me and the lads at Spurs Related over at Spurs Related on YouTube. It's the one we're trying to grow at the moment. We've had Ben and Sim over for quizzes, which is all good fun and games, isn't it? There's a rematch coming up. The third match against Sean at Spurs Talk Show. So get yourselves over at Spurs Related, guys, and most importantly, Ben, thanks, mate, for inviting me on.
I can't wait to get back on, and hopefully I'll have a quiz with the guys to the left of me, and Simeon, me and Brian Ireland, or me and Kiriakou. But Nick, Barry, Sean, Phil, Grant, Undun Bad Boy, every other name under the sun. Undun Barry, sorry, not Undun Bad Boy, Undun Barry. Idiot. Where can they find you, buddy?
And ticket liaison officer as well. So yeah, we're back. We're back on Shelfside Spurs. You can find me and Rez there. We're coming back. Hopefully the Thursday, the 4th of August. We've got some new stuff coming up as well. Me and Rez will be in the studio next Saturday to do the watch along against Roma. So hopefully we won't be as rusty. And the game will be a little bit more exciting than it was last Saturday. But yeah, head over to Shelfside Spurs Show. Give us a like. Same to James. Same to Brian. Obviously, everyone knows where Brian's from, but he'll tell you anyway. But yeah, pleasure to come on this morning. And yeah, just hope for another good win and come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I mean, most importantly, like and subscribe to the 2 people. But yeah, that I can always get this below me. But yeah, you can find me, Danny Kiriakou, Adam Clark, and Brian Ireland at Tottenham on Tour. We have a hell of a lot of new content coming your way for the start of the season. One show we're really proud of that's going to start next week as well, called Everywhere You Go. But most importantly, there's going to be a very, very special stream that no one knows what's going on apart from a couple of people. It's going to be a vlog on Thursday. And all I'm going to say is it's going to be called It's Happened Again. and it's going to be worth a watch next Thursday on Tottenham on Tour. Keep your eye out for It's Happened Again. And Ben, I'll leave it to you to tell people where they can find you on your own channel and then the stream.
All right, guys. Well, anyway, me and Simeon on the watch along today, and then it's the post-match fan show where it's your chance to have your say. So looking forward to seeing you guys on the watch along today. Go subscribe to these 3 great channels as well. Thank you, everyone, for taking part. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and the great job that these 3 guys have done, as well as David Harris. Obviously, everyone go and subscribe to the Irish Hotspur as well.
Let's wish him well as well. Let's hope he is healthy.
Exactly.
I'm doing the watch along for him as well now with Jack, so I'm doing a watch along as well. So, yeah, you'll see me at the Irish.
Exactly. So everyone send their best wishes to David. We wish him a speedy recovery. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Come on, you Spurs.